Um, when I speak to groups like this, I usually try to start at the end and start with the ask. Frankly, we all have one. And I'm here today to ask for your business, ask for you to trust Home Team enough to refer us to your clients. But in return for that, I will commit to you to provide a level of service that brings value to your business. We want to talk a little bit about how we do that. But that's why I'm here. Very simple. Anytime you're cold calling or presenting to a group or anything, you're asking for their business. I'm here to ask you for yours, but I don't expect something for nothing. Each of you have a brochure. There's some extras in the back. We don't have enough of them spread out to introduce you to Home Team. This is what I put together. That if I had you cornered for 2 minutes and wanted you to know the most important things about Home Team, these are it. So when you look at all of our services, I think we have probably a wider array of services than any inspection company in the triangle. You can make one call and get it all done with Home Team. We do obviously a ton of new construction in this market. We're doing new homes just about every day. We've also conversely got a very deep well of experience with extremely old homes, up to and including the oldest remaining house in Chapel Hill, 1814, we inspected a few years ago. Well, we've got a lot of experience with 100-plus-year-old homes. So that whole spectrum of what you're going to find out in the market, we've got experience and capability to do that. We also do commercial property inspections. They might not matter to anyone in here, but there's really nothing on the commercial side that we cannot do either. So if that's something, someone who's looking for a solution there, we'd love that referral. But all of the regular stuff, termite, radon, well and septic. We do swimming pools and hot tubs in-house. Another thing that I do, water analysis, indoor air quality, and mold testing, that's related. When I come in to do indoor air quality, let me back up for a second. When someone calls about mold and talks to my office, I want someone to come and sample mold. I always call that person to have a conversation, because you'll find that the last thing I want to do is sell somebody something for nothing. And I'm not in the business of talking people out of giving me their money, but I want to help them be sure to spend their money in a smart way. If somebody calls and says they've got mold and they want to pay us to come sample it, I'll ask them questions. Why do you want to know what kind of mold it is? There isn't a good one. There's not one there that you just, oh, well, that's fine, we can leave that. No, if you've got mold, you've got a moisture problem. So I'm going to recommend that you spend your money finding and fixing that moisture problem, and then the mold is a simple cleanup. Mitigation, guys, hydrogen peroxide, clean it off, done. You don't need me to tell you what kind it is. Where our mold testing is of value. Now, if somebody wants, if they insist, if I tell them that and they insist, then I'm happy to take their money and tell them what kind of mold it is. I'm not gonna try to talk about it twice. But when you go into a home, you smell something, you know something's here, but you don't know what it is. That's where we can be helpful with a diagnostic, indoor air quality testing. And when I do that, I'm not just going in and taking air samples to say, yep, here's what you got in your air. I'm also taking infrared thermography camera in, and I'm searching for the evidence of moisture that you don't know is there. I'm not going to take the time here to explain infrared thermography. If you don't know, you probably already know what it is and how it does what it does. But to say it simply but falsely, it can see behind that wall. It can't really, but it can see temperature differences. It can sense temperature differences behind that. And evaporating water is cooler than the air around it. So that is a good diagnostic tool when you see that on here. Chimney fire safety inspections. You guys probably know Smoke Alert and Garner. That's who we subcontract that full blown. And what they come in, they do the parts of the chimney that we can't, and they do a full fire safety analysis of the home. Good. And then sewer line scoping. Primarily for those old houses that have been there for a long time, so that they've got maybe sketchy material in that little clay pipe, things like that, or they're a long way from the street and you got all the big trees there that have been there forever, or you're having a problem. we bring the plumber in and they can scope that line. So that very wide array of technical services. Now, how do you get those services? We've got an online schedule, of course, 24/7. If you get nothing in but a name and a phone number, you're going to get a call from somebody. If it's during office hours, you'll get a call right away. If you do it in the evening, somebody's going to call you in the morning. If you want to call us driving down the street, or you'd rather call than do it online, we've got customer service 8 to 5 weekdays. You're going to get someone live. If you start an order and you would rather talk to somebody, you see something or you don't understand, we've got live people there who can help you. So that's a big benefit to help you, because you guys are busy. You want to get these things done in the easiest manner you can. You call us, you tell us what services you need, we can make it all happen. Our payment options are super easy. We did a couple of years ago have to put in a credit card fee, but when we did that, we also turned on ACH payment. We also have, it's currently free, but we also have pay at close available for any customer. I may end up having to put a fee on that eventually because they keep going up on me. It was a month's fee in the beginning. We administer that with a financial company. So they take the invoice and get it to closing. They pay us, at the time of the inspection. So then they're responsible for collecting. And it's all the usual stuff, client information, credit card on file, that sort of thing. But if you're working with clients who are just struggling to get across the finish line, that can be a big benefit to them to get that closing done with no out-of-pocket money. All the usual e-sign on contracts. It's just super easy for your client. We're also looking for ways that we can bring value to your business. We have a Realtor's dashboard that if you access your reports through that dashboard, you can create a report for your DDRA that pulls the issues that you want, and you can dictate what you want done with it. I want this replaced, I want this repaired, I want this financed. You can add things that are outside of our scope. You want the curtains, put in a line item on that thing. So you can build a report to put on your DDRA that pulls the remark and the photos into that DDRA report. So that's something you can use. We have a large team set up where they're transaction coordinator. We built a team in our system, and that transaction coordinator can access every agent's reports and just have it in one spot. So some real convenience. You see our team on here. We've got a very good team. The thing that I take experienced guys, but then I train them with the way we do things. And there's two primary attributes that I'm looking for on every inspector. One, our guy's got to be a good technician. He's going to be able to find, identify, and communicate those issues. But second, he's also going to be a good teacher because he's working with your client. We are the face on the scary part of due diligence for you and your client. So we've got to share that information in a way that's helpful and informative and not just scare the hell out of it. We keep the drama out of it. Everything can be fixed. There's nothing that can't be fixed. So we're just reporting the facts. We're doing it in a helpful, informative way. To the extent that we know what the repair is likely to take, we're happy to share it. We're not in there diagnosing all these things, but when we can provide help to that, we do that. Last thing, then I'll shut up, sit down. Having a conversation with Keith. I've also I'm going to share with him the outline, a series of courses that I've developed over the years that are very helpful to agents. We've got one agency who we do this twice a month on Zoom with all of their offices from the coast to the mountains. And we just do them. They pick which one they want. People can come in. We'll have 15, 20 people per Zoom. We do these classes, but we've done these for many years, and they were developed to begin with at various agents' requests. First is home inspection orientation. That's designed for new agents. Help them understand what that process is. Then we take you through the second class, take you through the inspection. Third class is specific for structural issues. That's a biggie. Then HVAC, and then radon. It's important to understand what radon is, what it does, in order for you to help inform your client why they need that. So those are, a number of things that we offer, I encourage you to check out our Google reviews, check out our website. There's a full price list at the About tab of our website. I'm gonna hang around till the end of the meeting. I'll be around if anyone has any questions or anything they want to talk about.
Do you cover? Do you have
We
any
cover,
dates and
we're
ways?
not very smart. We cover the whole triangle and beyond, and beyond keeps creeping further and further out. Smithfield to Hill to Creedmoor and Roxborough and Siler City to I had a guy in Rocky Mount yesterday, because a lot of the, especially the new house communities, Spring Hope, Middlesex, a lot of that stuff, Southern Johnston, yeah, we get pulled farther and farther, so we're just dumb enough to go and do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
One of our favorite things about Ed, and I mean this as a true compliment, I don't know if it's the mustache or the glasses or it's a makeup, he just reminds me of like everybody's dad or their favorite uncle. So like when he comes to the home inspection, everybody just trusts what he says. It just looks like like if there was just what an American dad looks like, that's you.
I love it. Thank you, Ed.
That's not the first time that's come up.
Yeah.
I'll work it.
Welcome, everybody. Yes, come on in. I'll do a quick intro really fast. Not trying to steal your thunder.
Oh no, you guys intro. I'm gonna let you guys do your own bios, and then I've got questions.
Okay, perfect. I'll just let you do it then, and then there's just a reason I feel like everybody's here. Like everybody's got a different path.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
So, I've been in 18 years. I run a team of 22. Started my team about 10 years ago. Brittany, you told me this.
In 2015.
Mm-hmm. And she started a team, and has gone on and now has an independent boutique brokerage. So I'm excited to hear her insight. And then Charity, you're 5 years in.
5 years in, yes, I will say.
Yep. And then your team is talk about how many your team is, and then we're going to talk about how different your team is from my team.
36 people in 7 states.
Yep. Good. So all of that to say there's not one way to do a team, but go ahead, Keith, you have all the points.
Well, no, talk a little more about your teams and the number of people, just so everybody knows, because we do have some different size teams, and I think that's important to weigh in on. So you, April, how many do you have on your team?
Yeah, so mine is technically what's considered a mega icon team, and we have 22 people on our team.
Okay.
I started a team about 10 years ago, started with 2, and now we're at 22.
Okay.
There's 20 of us. Everyone's licensed except for 2, so I have 2 staff members that are unlicensed. And started the team in 2020. So I started full-time in recruitment in 2020. I started my team in 2021. So I was a mentoring agent. I had 38 and I was married. And it said, "Charity, you have a team." Start a team. So I did, and I started doing the traditional 50-50 team, that I saw everybody else doing. And what I loved was mentoring, and I tried it the other way. I didn't love it. That's what I love. I love teaching. I love when people feel like if their business plan is here to help. So drew the team down a little bit for a while. Started really going back to teaching and coaching, and then last year focused on coaching, and then in July had a request to start the team as a way to do a coaching program for agents. So it is a team. We have team leads. I'm not playing the training, but it's just a little bit of a fit on that. And because we're virtual, we can be anywhere. So since July we've had 6 people this week. So
Perfect.
it's a lot of fun trying to figure this out. But yeah,
Absolutely. Well, I've got some questions for you all, ladies. I really appreciate y'all's time and info, and I know we're looking forward to all of this. So, I mean, obviously, any single agent, how did you know when it was ready to start a team, or why did you start a team to begin with? Was it something that was a goal all along, or was it based off production? And then the second half of that question is, what were your first couple of hires? How did those hires look?
Okay. I'll start. No, I had no intention of starting a team. I was one of those agents I'm not trying to be this person. I'm not trying to be as big as that person. But then what happened was, and I feel like, and that's why I'm so excited we're having this conversation today, is I started the team like so many other team leaders start out of necessity. I'm busy. Let me go find somebody else to go be busy with me, because I could no longer handle all the business I had. And instead of following what so many people have said before me, instead of hiring an admin first, I went straight to another agent. And although that has worked out wonderfully, she now has her own team. I think I went about it the wrong way, but that's the reason I was also telling you like how many years difference is between us, because when I started a team, that's how everybody else was doing it. It was just finding a group of other busy people to be busy together. That was team.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I tried to do it the right way. And I actually had some people helping me hire a solid admin because I needed one desperately. And they were like, whatever you do, hire someone that's not like you. And one of the girls I interviewed, I loved when she walked out the door, they looked at me and were like, you can't hire her. And so I called her to tell her that she didn't get the job, but I thought she could be a great agent. She got her license and came back to me. And I was like, oh, okay, well, now we have an agent starting this team. And that year, it kind of took off.
And were these buyer only, buyer specific, or just a?
No, I've trained mine from the beginning to do both.
Okay.
Same. When I started my team, every team leader I met was like, well, here's how you do it. So who's going to be the listing agent? Who's going to be the buyer agent? Obviously it started more of a partnership, like you be buyers, I'll be listing. And it quickly turned into, well, I don't have to have my sign in the front yard of your clients' houses. And so I feel like at the time it was a little taboo to be like, no, I'm going to let them I'm going to cross train them to do both. Because at the time everybody was like, you can really only serve one master, so you can only be really good at one thing. And I was like, the first thing we're supposed to be good at is people. And if people trust our people, then that needs to be the most important thing.
And then Charity?
So again, my first iteration team was very different. The team now, I've had a virtual assistant for 2 years.
Okay.
So she's been with me and learned everything. And so again, because I started training and getting all the training programs in place, my team is focused on training. We don't actually have to have a staff. We do have a staff, but it's a staff of volunteers. So everybody on the team has a role. They give us 5 hours a week towards the team in lieu of paying, 50-50 split. So what it does is it gives people they feel like they're part of the team, like they're building leadership from the inside. Because again, my program is designed to build leadership so they can then lead and do their own thing. So so we have like 7 admin people between like all of us focusing on different things. Like one person for onboarding, one person for tech stuff. I have people who are heads of different divisions, like our lead generation programs. So I put them in charge of those programs and create SOPs with them, and I give them ownership of it. So we do work through people, right? That's my value props that, because I want to build them. I just want to get a massage, essentially. I tell people all the time, I work so I can get massages. If I can get a massage every single day, I feel like I've made it.
Did you see my picture from yesterday? I think I was a little selfish when I put a massage therapist in the building next door, but it is very convenient. That I reckon that very well.
Yeah, so but it is when I went from being solo, and obviously I'm very organized, I was training people for a long time, organized for myself, but when you go to a team and you have many hands in the pot of the same transaction, it's really about putting systems together and SOPs that everybody can follow a checklist. It's like anybody can check at any time, where are we? Like, and there has to be a central location for that. So I think getting organized systems and processes is super key, and understanding that if you have your systems and processes for yourself, it's still going to be different when you start adding more people.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have a team, you're starting, and you have these people that are knocking on your door. How are you deciding? How are you identifying and recruiting the right agents to join your team, and then ensuring each team member aligns with your vision and the values you have with your needs? I'm sure there's interview processes and stuff like that. Can y'all kind of get on that a little bit, what that looks like?
Yeah, and mine has evolved over the years. There are times when there's people knocking on the door, and most of the time, if I'm hiring, I'm hiring. Otherwise, I'm very strategic, and I don't want to just bring bodies onto the team. That like Charity, I like the mentorship piece, and I also feel like I give value in leads and opportunities that come. So I need to make sure, the way I look at it and the way I tell my team is everybody's getting fed. I need to make sure there's enough food for everybody to get fed. And then once we continue to grow and there's more opportunity, then I'll add to the team. So while I do have people reach out, and I never turn down talent, I always want to have an interview with somebody and just really figure out what is their timing, how can it align with ours? Is there a value opportunity they're bringing to the team that I'm not taking into consideration? Because it's not just about how many leads do you want, how much business do you want to do, but are you in a location that we're expanding to? Are you are you, really passionate or experienced in an area that we may not have on the team? So it's, at this point, it's more about like the ideal situation for the team as a whole, not just the person. So that's why I kind of rely more now on when I put out that we're hiring. Otherwise it's kind of a organic, I guess.
I got
you'd
you,
say.
I got you, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, it's changed over the years. When I first started, we all of a sudden had 8 new people come to me and I was like, yeah, you look nice, we could sell real estate together, I could probably teach you something, and learned a lot the wrong way. So
Not the
yeah,
wrong way, it's called fail forward.
that's right,
Yes,
fell
yes.
forward, hard way.
Yes, yes, of course.
How we onboard or choose who we're bringing onto the team now, a lot of it is our team recruits our team.
Yeah.
We like the people that we work with, and so we're probably gonna like the people that they like. And so a lot of people are coming to us, but we're looking at, do they fall in line with our values? We are really listening closely for their reason for whether or not they're successful. Are they blaming, or are they, taking ownership of things that they are looking to change? And if they're brand new, that's my specialty because I love training someone up from scratch. But yeah, I mean, we're just looking at our values. Do we feel like we align? Do they represent our brand and our team? Do we feel like they could do a good job with our people?
Which is so interesting because I think that's something her and Charity are both really good at. They're really good with new people, and I stayed away from new people for the longest time because in the beginning, saying half my team recruited the other half of my team, and it was like, we're in business together. Let's just keep being busy together. But then when someone new came along, I realized, oh gosh, it's been a minute since I've done this, and things have changed. And so I shied away from hiring new people and probably didn't hire new agents for at least 5 years.
Mhm.
And then I realized that I had made a mistake. Fail forward, there is a lot of value in brand new agents coming right out of the gate versus trying to get agents to fit into your system and processes that have been used to doing it a certain way for so long. And so I now see both sides of the coin, and we try to leverage when we bring on brand new agents, that we bring on a couple new agents at the same time so they're learning together.
Yeah, that peer to peer is.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I haven't even honestly made an announcement. If you look at my social media, no, even know that team. It started in July. We started back in July and we had 40 people. So, again, we've just gotten referrals from people who know what we do. But I've kind of been known as a new agent whisperer, like that's kind of like.
Yeah.
My thing. Yeah. What's up?
You were my first contact with
Okay.
me.
It's like a launch program, so it's our onboarding process is a 12-week course.
Mhm.
So I make everyone go through a 12-week course before they're eligible to even get seats. And so the purpose of that is to make sure that they understand the value of the lead and they do the work to build their business without me. My goal is to get them off my team. So my team is very different. So when I want to kick you off, please leave. And that's very different than most teams. Most teams want people, hey, you're welcome to stay forever, and there's opportunities to become a mentor and build programs. But my goal is to build a background of structure of your business you can leave, right? And so what I'm looking for is a little different because I'm not spending money on my team. I'm really looking for passion. Do you want to do this? However, again, looking at the legal time, there's a lot of fear, and I think there's fear with every person, right?
Mhm.
So I learned everybody's whole life story. I think
Well, that's everything in real estate.
Yeah.
We end up becoming best friends and learning everybody's life story.
It's the little interview is telling me your whole life story.
Right.
Because they're new to real estate, they don't have the history in real estate for me to say, how have you done? But honestly, we have people who've been in this business 4 or 5 years and never sold a house. And so then I say, well, what's your history? What have you done before? And I see what they've learned, what they haven't learned, and if what we can teach them can help them, which it can. And but the interview process is I tell them, look, if you had to pay me out of pocket for coaching, it cost you X dollars. You're asking me to wait to get paid. I'm gonna need you to prove to me that you're serious. And so that's where the difference was when I first had my team the first time. It's like, everybody just come. That's great.
Yeah.
I can help you. Do you know what I mean? And where it was I felt the pressure to make them successful. And so that's actually been an evolution in me of feeling like I don't have to make I can provide them resources and something. But then I have to give them, give them the training, but also give them the guidance and the coaching to then take that responsibility on themselves. So it's really a personal development company,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's really what we're doing. And I hold the belief for them that it's possible for them before they can believe themselves. And I think that's really what people are looking for in leadership. So it's really servant leadership. It's not about me. So again, I didn't start team because I have so much transactions I need help with them. Do you know what I mean? I've got systems and processes for that. I really did it to train. So it's very different, right? Again, and so their businesses, and I literally say to them, I don't really care what you do. It's not my business. Literally, it's your business. So if you want to close 1 house or 10 houses or 25 houses, I don't have to pay expenses off of your. So like you figure out what you want to do. Now, but what you tell me you want to do, I'm gonna hold you accountable to that, right? And then if I see that you're stuck because there's some fear there, then we're gonna talk about it, and I'm gonna encourage you to take 1 step in the right direction. That's really what people come to me for versus, it's just, I still think it's like what people look for. People come to a team, they want training, mentoring, and coaching. When people join a team, that's
Well, yeah,
right, and then leads or like obviously like how to get leads, right? They want to sell houses.
Right.
So it's very
So-
different.
If everybody could take away one thing, it's that, and then this is something that I have struggled with, because I'm an instant gratification. I'm the person that, if I put a job posting, the first person to come in here, I'm like, yeah, sure, you got the job. You really have to it's when you really have to start treating it as a business. You go into any business around here, apply for a job, you're gonna sit down for an interview, they're gonna vet you. When you're doing that as a team, you have to really just not, hey, come one, come all, but really make sure that, these people have goals and are aligned with what your goals are and stuff like that.
I think at the end of the day, Keith, though, like somebody can sit down and tell you all the right things, and then when you're in the middle of your onboarding program, whatever, however long that looks, usually that's where they put their money where their mouth is and decide whether or not they're a good fit.
That's the exact point. So they're gonna quit in the first 12 weeks. I'm giving them 20 hours worth to do it.
Yeah.
And if they're not gonna do it, they're out. Do you know what I mean? I have to
Absolutely.
spend their time with them, so it's fine. So again, I make them prove themselves to me through the process. It's because I have a system that I teach agents, like I can have the same class with 1 person, 1,000 people. So it doesn't take extra time from me.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew I had to do it to be able to scale to where I wanted to be and then teach it.
well, and speaking of the onboarding, again, a fail forward, we did not have anything in place like that. It was just kind of like, welcome to the team, here's some leads, go run and come back and we'll help walk you through it. And that did not work because any new agent is hungry. It was like hungry hippos. Every time a new agent came on the team, you could see their name filled up our CRM, like grab. And I was like, hold on, you cannot work with 18 people in one day. We all know that. So I know you're excited, but then, that was kind of causing issues. And when we found, I broke my own rule, and I'm going to contradict myself in a second, but I broke my own rule and I hired some part-time agents this year. I never have hired part-time agents in the past because I've seen it doesn't work. If somebody knows that they can go somewhere and get paid $150 today versus doing the work that may create $1,150, but 60, 70, 90 days from now, I hate to say it, but they're going to instant gratification turn to make that 150, which means they're not spending the time in this business that I am providing leads and spending money on and things like that for. So this year we started, because I'm listening to Charity too, the 90-day onboarding. Like, okay, first you're going to learn our systems and processes, then we're going to release you on leads. And all 3 part-timers did not make it through the first 90 days. And it was because they did not show up. They did not, and it was kind of like the proof was in the pudding. It was exactly what I thought. Now, alternatively, Tracy, who was on my team, who started her own team, she is still very busy in her business. She does have some agents that are part-time on her team, and that works for her because she can be there for them when it makes sense. But whereas I am all day, every hour for my team, she is still able to continue building and working on her business and let these agents kind of do their own thing. So I'm not saying one is better than the other, and that's why we're having this, is because everybody needs to understand they can do it differently.
Absolutely.
And how to figure out what makes sense for you.
And half of the people on my team are part-time agents. But that's because I have a class at nighttime, which means I'm willing to teach a class instead of 8 p.m. Does that make sense? So you can, it's different. I'm not doing what April's doing and out getting new construction neighborhoods and going on listening programs. So it's just different. It can work. the people, for me, if they make it through, part-time people are more serious than the full-time people sometimes, because when you want them done, give it to a busy person, they're good.
Yep.
So sometimes I gotta push people, sometimes I gotta pull them back, you know what I mean? And so, again, because I'm forcing them to prove themselves in their 12 weeks, they feel like, okay, there's very specific set things I have to do this week. And that helps new agents get off the ground, because it's like so much information, and you're like, okay, I get it, I'm listening to what you're saying, it totally makes sense to me, but what do we do first? Just tell me one thing to do, and then I'll take that step. So it just depends, and in a traditional team, working with part-time agents, when you're working 9 to 5, and they're working 9 to 5, it's difficult.
Yeah.
What's
We have a
your
question.
onboarding difference? Hold on, I'll stay here for 1 second.
Oh, yeah, you're fine.
Now they both might fall off their chairs. Ours is 2 weeks.
Mhm.
We just know that if you're not making money in real estate, you lose it. And dues and everything else is expensive. And the best way to learn is to get out there in the field. So we have our 2 week onboarding, and we have 200 calls they have to make within 1 week. If you make 199 and then by Sunday, then you have to start all over, and that gets their feet wet. And then really, because our team is so hands-on, onboarding is forever. I mean, there's
Yeah.
training
Yeah.
forever, so it's not like they're like thrown to the wolves after 2 weeks, but we have them out there in the field working with their clients within 2 weeks.
Awesome. Do did you all create, this is a question from Zoom. Did you all create your own onboarding processes and programs, or was there something you found that was a plug and play?
I think Charity has a plug and play. I kind of borrowed the things that I liked from other people's, and it's evolved, and that's the thing, where it started, just like Brittany, mine used to be 2 weeks. And yes, I say 90 days, but in that same time, we're teaching them how to fish. We're encouraging them to go out and get business, because once they are getting their own business, they're going to respect other business that much as well that is given to them. And if we automatically start by giving people business, then a lot of times they never even try to get their own business. So mine has been kind of like a hodgepodge of, okay, this worked this time, it didn't work this time. Now,
Because they were asking if you guys had a suggestion of a program or a course, an onboarding course.
Charity has one.
There you go.
Because Tracy, you were talking about,
Mhm.
her team goes through my course.
Okay.
So I have 3 team leaders who are sending their people through my onboarding programs, because they don't want to do it themselves. So, but no, I agree that.
And ours is a hybrid. And I think ours is a hybrid because our inside staff wants to show the agents how we prefer things to be done.
Yes.
And we don't train on a lot of cold calling for everyone. We start with, what does fishing look like to you? Because we're going to teach you how to fish. So not everybody, some people want to bass fish, somebody want to saltwater fish, deep water, flounder gig, whatever. I'm using all these analogies, but what is your favorite type of fishing? And that's where we're going to start, because that's what people are more apt to do.
Yeah.
Where, me, throw me in an open house and I'm going to thrive. But if you tell me to make 200 phone calls in 2 weeks, I'm going to throw up. So that's why it's kind of like, we're going to help you figure out how to generate business, but we're going to start with the way you're comfortable. And then we're going to do team events and competitions and things like that to get everybody out of their comfort zone.
Yeah. What was the question?
You already know your
Yeah,
answer.
you
Yeah, if you
started.
did yours yourself, it was just if you used somebody else's onboarding.
No, we made our own. We also make every single person go through it, the whole thing from start to finish. We made a mistake of, oh, you have some experience, so you don't need to be trained on contracts. And then we're like, that was a mistake, bring it back in.
Real quick sidebar question, yes or no? Somebody comes and they want to join your team, do you do any type of personality, disc profile, anything like that?
Not off the get-go, because we typically do things like that semi-annually or quarterly as a team. And I think, I don't want to have a preconceived notion of somebody based on their disc profile, because mine has changed.
Well, actually, I don't mean that. I think maybe after the fact, is there some point do you introduce that? Because it made me think when you said about fishing, well, I spent a lot of time fishing for the wrong kind of fish in my career until I learned about the disc profile, and it said, oh, these are the lead generation things you should do based on your disc profile. And here, all the things that I didn't have, what I was doing were not the right things. So that's what it made me prompt that if you guys introduce some type of personality test to help these agents learn what their strengths and weaknesses are.
We do. I've tried to do something like that within the team at least every year. So we've got 2 different ones. We've done the Working Genius. And the reason I like doing that is because I like to see where the teammates fall within what we already have. So that I don't have 15 people over here, I'm just gonna use a disc because everybody's familiar with that.
Yeah.
If we had 15 Ds, then nobody would be personable. Everybody would just be flying around, just
Yeah.
driving themselves like crazy. Same thing, if we had all the S's, they'd just be walking around like, when is something gonna happen? And so I don't, yeah, I don't look at everybody individually. I look at them like, once we get them all, now let's map them out and see where they are on the team. And then I look for other people that have certain personality profiles moving forward. So there's all different ones out there. So I don't think you can look at just one, but I think it's important that you're constantly doing some type of personalities. I mean, we've done Enneagram. I can't say that word, however you say it, but yeah, thank you. I'm too old. But yeah, we've done all different kinds of types, but it's not necessarily part of our offboarding.
I'm just really bad at taking them, so I feel like I already know in my head what is the result's gonna be, and I
I overthink them too. I'm like, hold on,
So-
am I this or am I this?
No, like we don't do it,
Mhm.
but I do think that like having the background of an understanding this helps me pigeonhole somebody
Oh,
to
yeah,
a
yeah.
degree that
Yeah,
like you're probably about like that, and this is probably how you like to receive criticism and things like that and praise. I will say that is one thing that we did do with our team that was really, really helpful. Learning how we like to receive praise, because some people do not want you to put them up on a pedestal and shout them out. And some people are like, hey, you know, so I think that was really helpful for our staff too, to like know how we can love on them and appreciate them.
Languages of appreciation. in
Real
our
quick,
workplace.
something to note for everybody that is thinking about starting a new team. I didn't know that when I first started. I started as a solo agent and I was like, why would somebody join a team? Because I'm the one that wants me. Hey, look at me. So I didn't know, I had the ignorance going in of that there are different personality types out there, that there is somebody that just wants to be behind the scenes and loves that. And I never wrapped my head around that. And once I began, that's when it made sense that, oh, there's everybody wants to have a different role and wants to have different exposure. And that's how you start to kind of get those different puzzle pieces in place.
Mhm.
So,
We do this day one.
yeah.
I make them as part of
I feel.
onboarding. But I already know what it is when I first meet with them.
Yeah.
Then I make them do Working Genius.
Yeah.
So with our team, we start working on buyer's presentation week 2, and they have to have it memorized and present it to me by week 3. So because I want to practice it with them, we go through buyer's presentation before we go through lead generation. Because I don't want you to block yourself from people saying yes to you. Like you don't even know what to say if they say yes. So we work on buyer's presentation first. But a hallmark of our program is there's 130 ways plus to lead generate. Cold calls is just one of them.
Yeah.
And so what we do and why this works, why I believe it works, is that we go through with people and say, here's all the ways to lead generate. I'm going to tell you which ones are going to be most effective. These types of leads close in 0 to 3 months, these types of leads close in 3 to 6 months, 6 months plus. And so in this list of 0 to 3 months, and you just spend 80% of your time on this, there's many options within this. So you need to pick 1 or 2 different types based on your person. And I will give them suggestions based on
Personality.
I know them, do you know them? So we do our course, we also have one-on-one coaching and we have peer-to-peer coaching. So there's a lot of talking in between besides the course, the Q&A sessions, we have prospect sessions every day. So by the time we get to the point of talking about lead generation, they've been exposed to lots of different types of lead generation. And I always focus on social media and sphere of influence, $3.99. I'm telling $3.99, do everything free. Because I've had some people on the team through their sponsors get paid leads because their sponsor thinks they're being helpful to them. And what happens is they run around to paid leads and then they refuse, well, not refuse. They think it's gonna work out. What they don't understand is it takes time to convert paid leads. And it's like the time that you're spending doing this, you could have built a business that's gonna sustain you for years and years to come. And so when you give someone the easy way out in the first couple of weeks, it's really hard to get them back into the mode of it's gonna take 90 days.
Of having to, actually.
Right, so I think that a lot of it's setting an expectation from the beginning of. And I'm just like I did buyer's presentation, I say, how much money do you have? How much money do you have? And I say to people, can you pay your bills for the next 3 months? What's your situation? Do you need a job? We're very realistic with people so that they're in a good place to build their business the right way.
I think that's probably come from a lot of, for lack of a better term, failures with people because you just assumed, or just like I said, had an open door and just said, come on in.
Well, yeah, and when I first started, I had 5 jobs.
Yeah.
So I did not. Yes.
I would not have hired charity, obviously, and look at the talent I could have missed out on because of my own rule. But I know how it works with the way my team is ran and our systems are ran. And
Yeah.
you just said something very important. My number one regret fell forward was when I started my team. I felt like, okay, I have a team now. I need to buy leads.
Yeah.
I never paid for a lead. I was doing 90+ deals myself a year. I never paid for a lead until I started a team.
Yeah.
And when I started my team, I was the youngest person on my team. There were people that had had their license since I was in high school on my team, had a very big book of business, had a sphere. Do you think I told them to tap into that? Nope. I immediately thought I need to buy leads. So then I taught them how to go for low hanging fruit instead of massaging their sphere and working that. And it absolutely was, I'm not going to say disastrous because it worked out. However,
It was a tough road.
it was a tough road because once you start giving them that low hanging fruit, that's all they want. Nobody wants to do the hard things.
Nobody wants to fish.
Nobody wants to fish. Then they just want to eat. And so I did it to myself. And I think that's the biggest thing is people who are considering starting a team think is, well, I don't have enough leads. That's fine. You have knowledge. And that's what most people want out of being on a team versus just.
Guilty.
Yeah.
I always thought that for the longest time. I always thought why, and I didn't realize that people want the mentorship, they want the training. And that will actually bring the leads.
Yeah.
If you do it right.
You know what they really want? The systems and processes. And I feel like that's something.
Well, that's perfect because that is my next question.
Okay.
What tools or systems do you use to keep your team organized? And to keep them on track with their goals? I assume that you do individual goals and team goals, if you don't mind touching on that as well.
Yeah.
So systems and processes for keeping track of the team and their goals, and then how you measure, team versus individual.
I'm gonna let you start with systems and processes because that is her jam.
Yeah.
No, you, Brittany.
Me?
Yes.
Well,
Both
I
are
do
jam.
just want to speak about the lead real fast.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think either one of them either. Like, I mean, none of us started our career with cold calling or buying leads. That's not how we became successful. So I did the same mistake as April and I thought, oh, well, I don't really want to give you my business because like I still have to pay bills to now pay for your stuff. So I'll just give you some Google or something. And I had heard people talk about scripting, but I had never been taught that. I just kind of was winging it. I didn't realize that I already had my own scripts because I said the same things to all people. So we didn't have a CRM. We had a Google spreadsheet. When a lead came in, they were supposed to put it in. They were supposed to put in their notes. And when people don't do that, even with the best CRM out there, they didn't do that. So I learned a lot failing forward that way. And I will say, because I built my business on my sphere, and by networking, we train our people to do that alongside of the leads that are coming in because you have to have a multifaceted way of bringing business. You can't just rely on leads. So although we provide a ton of business to our team, we're training them how to do all the things at the same time. But we just kind of like casting our wide net. So we want you to be in rotation so you can pick up leads if you want to, while we're also training you to do all the things. If you are slow, these are the things to go out and do. It's not just cold calling how we build our business. And because it's uncomfortable for me, I had to learn how to cold call myself so that then I could teach other people because I had never done it. And that's still to this day, like if you ask me to call somebody in front of everybody, like I would be shaking in my boots. It's just not a comfortable thing. Systems for keeping, CRM. So we use Follow Up Boss. We've tried a lot of them out there. I loved Sync for a long time. I love Follow Up Boss even more. Now it has awesome AI that dictates your call for you in case you're not writing fast enough. We use Brokerment. I really love it because it tracks everybody's goals. We use Sisu and it got really expensive in the past. I use Sisu. Brokerment, we also pay our agents that way, direct deposit, all the things. So Brokerment's also how we are using all of our transaction software. So like our signing software is it's like everything is in Brokerment. So it's my favorite. It's not that expensive compared to everything else that we've done in the past. I think for my entire team, it's $3.99 a month. And that pays our agents. It's our replacement for Dot Loop. And they track all of their goals in there, so they can see like their pipeline of under contract, how much they closed for the year, all the things.
Do you want to answer the goals question while you're there?
Goals.
Individual, and then, like I said, I'm sure that you guys have both aspects, individual and team goals. How do you handle that? And I mean, I would assume that if the agent isn't consistently hitting their goals, or just terrible, that they kind of organically see them way out, or has there been a situation where you kind of had to say, look, you really need to step up because you're setting these goals, or how does that work?
I mean, we talk about like their why behind their goals. Like if their goal is 30 and they only sold 12, I'm not seeing them out the door because that was 12 and they brought that to the team.
Yeah.
And they're the ones though. I mean, that's why we're trying to hold them accountable, because if you wanted to close those extra 18, what was your why behind it? And now you're not going to go on that trip or pay off your car or whatever you wanted to with it. And so we at first had like a minimum transaction, and we don't do it anymore. But we goal plan every October. So we're in the middle, like in the thick of it right now. We've done like an NFL draft type signing day. Like everybody signs committing to their goals. I sign, they sign, we take a picture. It's great. Everybody else. And then we collaborate and take everybody's goals together and make one big team one. And if we hit it, then we all go somewhere as a team. And so we have a sales meeting every Tuesday. So we are looking at like how many we have as a team, volume and number wise for the current month and the next month. And then we're looking at our goals on like a graph paper.
Yeah, so everybody can see everybody else's.
Every single week.
Yeah.
I will go back really quickly to, we talked about starting our business in the sphere and social media. So again, I've only been in real estate for 5 years. For 17 years, I ran a team of 7 cold callers. And I cold called for several years. And we had to sign 25 contracts a week, 52 weeks a year for 17 years.
Was this for real estate?
No, not for real estate.
Okay.
In a previous industry.
Okay.
So I know how to do it, really good at it, hate it.
So many parts for your team
We
leader.
were so scripted. I mean, I could drop dead in the middle of the sentence, somebody would walk in and take, like, literally, and it's happened. Like, I worked in modeling, even seeing people would faint in the middle of an audition. I'd go catch them, and somebody would just walk in and pick up right where I left off. So the scripting, the systems and processes is like that. You can't hold people accountable to things if you don't have a standard to hold them accountable to. Give people, this is how it looks. And it works this way, and there's a lot of sales psychology in script that people don't understand. 90% of the people that I found who come to real estate have zero sales background. So it's understanding all of these things and why scripts are important. Like I said, everyone has scripts. You have scripts. You say you all have scripts. You say the same thing every single time. It's just, is it a good script? And so we're listening to that. Can we change one word? Because I always say there's 3 ways to make more money in real estate: higher price point, automatically more money, talk to more people, get better at it. So the third part of getting better at talking to people, do the same amount of work and make more money. So double 1 transaction, 2 transactions is a significant amount of money, right? It's because our payoff is so high, we do focus on, but when I focus on scripts with people, it's why are we saying this? What objection are we handling before it even comes up? I want you to understand why we're saying this. Please don't skip it. This is the important part, because non-sales people try to skip the sales part. The really uncomfortable questions, that's why it's in there. So we do focus heavily on scripts because, again, they're new, and I want to give people something to hold on to, but I tell them you're going to make it your own after you know this. Put your spin on it in the future based on your personality. System and process for us, again, we do everything $3.99, Google Sheets, Google Drive, and we paid for Sisu $1,000 a month. It was, I mean, people don't put stuff in. But the difference with us, again, because we run this one coaching program, we meet every week or every 2 weeks, and I look at their spreadsheets. So they're filling it out. So the spreadsheet is what keeps people on track, because we have a spreadsheet with every single step of the transaction. And I look, and we give them a percentage chance of closing based on where they're on the transaction. And so your whole entire goal this week is to move them from here to here. Your goal is not to move them from here to here. And so we take people and give them what to do, because again, because I focus on new agents, they don't know. So I don't assume that they know, again, because our focus is different. So by doing that, it just, again, with Working Genius, we can go to this later, but Some people can see I'm here and I want to be here, but I do not see the steps in between. My skill is I see the steps in between. We have the same word. I don't know what you're saying. But my skill is in W. So it comes to me with a problem, I fix problems and then I move on with life, right? So like I don't want to just say the same solution over and over again. I'm gonna give you a solution. You'll see this guy hanging out here in this part, or I see you're doing 100 showings without writing offers, there's a problem. Here's where we need to train you. Here's where that's going wrong. So having that deep dive into the steps, I'm able to really train that particular person. So we don't get to the point where I don't know what's happening to Susie. We haven't seen her for months and months because we're doing this on a regular basis. So again, these are things I learned from coaching that was now brought into the team structure that helps with productivity. So
I got
So,
two more questions.
Let me, yeah.
I got two more
So
questions. That's it.
It's a little bit different. We do individual goals and we do team goals. I used to do the same thing. We build everybody's individual goal to make the team goal. And then for me, I felt like that did not work because we had some who were performing at or above what they told me they were going to do. And then others were not. And it was just kind of a letdown at the end of the year when we didn't hit our team goal. And, you know, kind of like the accountability thing, I liked it because I'm like, all right, guys, we're all in this together. You said you're going to do this many. You said you're going to do this many. This is why this is our goal. But then I took a look at it and I was like, I feel like we're capable of this. And I'm going to set our goal. And we do ours in November. We'll have a 2-day team advance in November. This is what I feel like our goal needs to be. And it has nothing to do with the agent's individual goals. It is what I feel like we are capable of because I've got a year to figure this out. You know what I mean? If I think we're going to hit 400 or 500, I know from what the agents have told me what they plan to do. Now, where am I going to fill those gaps at? Because this is our goal. And so we're onboarding with Follow Boss right now because I'm tired of hearing the word Follow Boss. I'm just kidding. No, but I was using KB4 because coming from where we were, which was like top producer. I mean, KB4 was Cadillac. So, you know, the CRM is only as good as what people are going to use, and some people are not using it. And I do feel like
Which CRM is the best? The one
that you're going to
use.
use. Yep. And I never had a CRM. You know, I was doing 90 deals a year, not tracking it in a CRM. I was tracking it in an Excel spreadsheet. So yeah, we also use a lot of Google Sheets.
Yeah.
We use a lot of Google Docs for that reason. But we are transitioning, and our biggest goal in 2025 is it's going to be a non-option for our teammates using the CRM. Because we're going to train you on it, and this is how we're going to track what is and what's not working in the business. So I feel like I forgot the other question.
Yeah, we don't have team goals yet. But I find when people give me individual goals because they don't even know what they can do.
Yeah.
So I challenge them on
Say,
that.
like, I have had that disappointment where we set the team goal and I'm like a lot of people underperformed, a few overperformed, but we do set the goal for where we want to go. And then I have to look at, okay, how many do we expect to average out of a brand new agent, depending on when during the year they onboard, and how many agents do we need to add to make sure that we're going to hit our goal.
Right.
So
That's how I would do
because
it.
there's attrition, not everyone's going to stay with you the next year, you know.
And we do have a team standard, but I'll be honest, it's not like a guillotine. It's not like, oh my gosh, you didn't close your 2 a month, so you're out. We sit down in our one-on-ones and it's kind of like a 90-day period. We go through your one-on-ones, we figure out what's working, it's what's not, and we want them to tell us what's not working. And if it's all things from the team, then we know there's an issue. It's obviously everybody else is performing, so it can't be all us.
Yeah.
We will take responsibility, but it can't be all us. So if you come into your one-on-one with a lot of excuses, then you are going to be show the door. Otherwise, if you are like, hey, I'm trying, then we have a 90-day program that we put people in that kind of goes back to basics. And it's like, all right, well, I want to see you in the office this many days. I want to see you doing this. I want to see, you know, you got to show us that you're going to show up in order to stay on the team if you're not meeting them.
Excellent. All right, 2 more questions. I know we're about to be out of time. Really quick.
For a few minutes. So.
How do you balance, and this is one of the things that I kind of had in my own head. How do you balance nurturing client relationships, like your sphere of influence and people that come to you, hey, I want you to sell my house that you know personally, versus while you're trying to scale your business for growth, while you are trying to do 400 deals a year as a team, how are you balancing the clients that come in that want to see April, want to see Brittany or want to see Cherry?
That is the hardest part. I mean, and most of it's our ego, to be honest. 9 times out of 10, if the client's getting treated well, they really don't care. But in the beginning, it was I am we. I am, and from the time I started the team until today, I am always a we. When I answer my clients, I'm like, we would love to help you. We are gonna meet with you. And I pretty much make every appointment an opportunity for somebody else to go with me. So somebody needs to be shadowing at all times so that you're being efficient with your time. But I explain it to my clients, I'm on a football team. I'm the quarterback, but at the end of the day, I'm not running out of the tunnel by myself.
Yeah.
I have a team behind me for a reason. And when you explain to people, and they can see this in their own jobs, the way our industry has changed, the way technology has changed everything, we can't be everyone to everyone anymore. We can't be everything to everyone anymore. And so it was helpful when I first started. It was Tracy, and she was pretty much one of my buyers, because I would tell them like, she's a better buyer's agent than I am. You know me, I'm moving too fast. I got this and this and this. And so if you want somebody who's going to be patient and, this is your person. And once you have that conversation, you're like, you still get me. I work in tandem, but they're going to be your main point of contact to make sure that you've always got somebody, because they see me on Facebook. They know I'm here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
And so to them, it's like, okay, I get two of her.
I will say, like, man, social media can be the best thing and the biggest detriment to your business, because I had people say, like, I would have called you, but look, you're really busy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a knife in my heart. So I chose this year to still do a certain number of production, stay in production, do a certain number so that I could do some things personally while running the team. And yeah, I mean, I'm not handing off every single one of my sphere. In fact, like, yes, we're bringing people along, they're shadowing and all the things, but we do introduce the whole team. Because we tell our clients, you deserve an entire team to work for you.
Mhm.
Like, if I am not available to show the house for you, someone else will. And we work as a team. Our team gets points for showing, like, in a pinch points, is what we call it. And so they like to help each other and support each other. So it's not just someone else helping me or me helping, it's like they help each other all the time. It's really hard though. Yeah, to stay in production and run a team. It's like running two full-time jobs, because you can't do two.
I was saying,
One
Cherry,
part-time.
yours is kind of different because, if somebody comes to you and you have people in other states, so, I mean, are you still in production?
Still in production, yeah, I just made the intention to get back into production about 2 weeks ago, and now I have 2 listings and 3 buyers coming in. So
There you
we
go.
work on we're working on a production partner model. And so production partner model is where I have someone who makes the calls, because I have 9,000 people in my sphere.
Mhm.
So I just told you 9,000 people. That I don't have time to call 9,000
Yeah.
people, right? Okay, so I have past clients that are not being, like, it's hard. So I've hired somebody to make those calls for me, someone who knows me well, someone who I've trained, she's a licensed agent. She makes the appointments, we go, and then I have Trisha, or I have another agent on our team who helps me in the transaction. I introduce them as my partner. So I say you get 2 for the price of 1. You want me to be there on the day of court.
Mm-hmm.
My skill is not opening doors.
That's great. You're the lawyer, not the paralegal.
Yeah, I'm not a paralegal, right? Okay, so
I think that's a great analogy to
Uh-huh.
store in your brain.
Yeah.
Never, and working with a lawyer, you're gonna have a paralegal that's helping you with that case regardless
And
of
what we
who
say
that
is,
lawyer is.
Yep.
you want me to be looking for off-market property. Anybody can look on Zillow,
Yeah.
right? So the best deal that you're gonna get is gonna be off-market. And then for a seller, say, our team calls hundreds of people a week looking for sellers for buyers and buyers for sellers. So we're not just gonna put the sign in the yard and pray and hope it works, right? We're out here actively looking, networking with agents. So, and I say, well, I teach a lot of agents, and so like that's part of our strategy and how we're gonna get your house coming to people. We talk about shares all the time. We get a national reach. We have example code. So by giving that to people, it depends on their personality type, right? It depends how close we are together, how more recently we work together. But again, at this point, working off referral sphere, it is tough because you're like, this is my friend, but it just depends. I mean, I did have somebody say, are you? That's not we see you teaching all the time. Are you also still selling houses? So
That's what I'm going through right now.
Yeah, so you just have to
Because
make
people
it
say,
natural.
yep.
Because they think I'm the principal of Pequay High School now that I run this. Yeah, you must not have any time. I'm like, well, you don't realize it's not,
I will make it.
Quick, because I feel like everybody has it in their mind, well, once you run a team, you're supposed to step out of production. And that was my goal several years ago, but I realized that's not my goal anymore. I don't want to fully step out of production. Do I want a 95% step out of production? Yes, but I also still want to be very relatable. I still want to be very boots on the
I
ground.
still enjoy it.
I still enjoy
Something
it.
about being in the trenches.
It is.
Because the market changes so much that you can't give advice if you are not in it doing it. I mean, forms changed 2 days ago, like,
Right.
you have to be in it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, real quick, last question, doesn't even have to really do with teams. I know some of y'all wake up extremely early. Aside from that, and aside from time blocking, which would be another kind of generic answer, what daily habits or routines have been the most instrumental to your success in real estate?
You did my answer, Miles.
Wait,
No, consistency.
consistent.
No matter what, every day I do something in my business. To this day, 18 years later, I did it from the day I started. I do it today. Every day I'm doing something to move my business forward, whether it's just how's your mom and them, reaching out to somebody that's a past client, or whether it's making sure that my, social media reflects our current listings. I am working every day.
Yeah, I mean, it's 24/7, hard to turn off, but I would say that I brain dump every single morning on a piece of paper that I carry around with me all day. Anything that I think is important, I'll just brain dump it all and then transfer it to the next sheet for the next day or whatever. Until things get done or I delegate it out, but that's just a habit of mine.
So I did bring up, I bring up a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So
Probably.
And so I literally, cause I have to make my head run all the time, and I don't stop myself, I just think and then I create a column and I categorize it, and then I sort it by category, and then I prioritize it, and then what I teach people is if it takes longer than 15 minutes, it's too long, it's too big, you're not gonna do it. So I break everything down into less than 15-minute activity. And then I put on a calendar to do it, or I delegate to people, because I've done that, now I'm very clear what I'm asking people to do. And then I set up systems for accountability for myself. So to me, leadership is accountability for me. Putting yourself in leadership makes me accountable to people.
Mhm.
I do things more likely if we have a meeting on our calendar. So that means that every Monday we have an admin meeting and we're gonna talk about all the admin things. Does that mean we're not doing admin things through the week? Of course we are, but this is where we're gonna touch base. And then we have systems and process for communication throughout the week. So for example, with onboard, just onboarding on my mind right now. So we have a Slack, we Slack for our team, and we have a channel, an onboarding channel, that as soon as I have somebody who says they're gonna join the team, I just take a screenshot, I go to the onboarding channel. It gets it out of my mind, I communicate with somebody whose job it is, and it's right there for them, and then they can we work asynchronous, so it's really important that we have these communication structures. And it's also very important to have time down, like this has to be done by this day. So I've had to learn, because of my personality as a galvanizer, I'm like, okay, just do it, bye, I'm out, like I don't know what I'm happening. So I've had to learn to be time, because I have ADHD, so hands out. We don't think in terms of time, so these are coping mechanisms of mine. So I've had to learn how to understand time and put things on a calendar, and my mind literally thinks in boxes. Excel sheet, that's how my mind works. People think I'm joking, like I think of every single step like that. So that's the tactical practical, but the real answer is mindset work.
Mhm.
The tactical practical is either the actual things that I've done, but I wouldn't be able to do those things or have the feeling of worth to be able to delegate. Sometimes it's like, oh no, I should take that off. I don't want to ask people to do things, that I deserve help, that I deserve people to want to come and support. And as that mindset shift has changed, it amazes me every single day that people are stepping up and saying, I want to help, I want to help, I want to help. And it's like, it's such a cool thing, and that's been a shift in myself. So it's really, people think that I'm gonna make money when I become the person. That's not how it works. You become the person and you make money.
Mhm.
So entrepreneurship in general is a personal development journey that no one expects. You think you did this already? Yeah, no, you gotta go back. You gotta go back and figure that out. And every single day is a choice of who you're gonna be today. So it takes a lot of mindset work to be able to give to others, right? You have to pour into yourself and be in the right headspace. As we know, even just as real estate agents, it's so stressful. There's so many steps. I didn't ever have to write things down before I was 38 years old. I just kept it on my head. I had to make sure names on everything. Real estate. There's a lot of different moving pieces, and if you don't get organized, you will lose your mind. Like it is really, really
Yeah,
good.
it spirals quick.
Yeah.
It
Well-
spirals quick, and putting things off, just real quick, I put things off. And
Yeah,
CRM, or I'll just start doing it like this, and then it gets to the point where you're like, I don't even want to tackle
because what's
this,
happening
trying to
in
get
the
it back to
don't forget,
normal.
don't forget, don't forget, don't forget. This is power brain works. Don't forget, don't forget, don't forget, don't forget. So the brain dump is very crucial for that. Because when it's on a piece of paper or it's on a spreadsheet, your brain relaxes and says, oh,
That's what I was just going to say, for those whose heads are about to explode, like mine is, at the thought of putting all my thoughts on a spreadsheet. I'm not a spreadsheet person. Same thing, if I Google Doc, it's in a Google Doc,
Mhm.
and then I automatically share it with the person who I'm going to be delegating with.
Right.
And so it doesn't feel like I want you to do this right now. Like Nicole is a perfect example I can share with her. When I have an idea, and everything is in like an outline. If you're gonna outline in high school, college syllabus, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Here's my thought, here's my bullet points.
Yes.
And so I share it with her so that she can work on things as it makes time, as time permits, for lack of a better word, and it's out of my brain, and I don't feel like I have emailed her 30 times asking her to do something today.
And you can put a Google, like a link to a Google Doc related to that. So we use notes as well, so like the note section of them, so we can do a shared note, for example. I have a girl who does our social media stuff, and I just taught her, put your thoughts on a note, like every time you're scrolling social media, see a field that you wanna do, copy, paste it on the note, it's a shared note, so I see her posting all the time in our notes. So I have to set up systems where that I need. I'm not gonna remember to check, because I have ADHD, so this is the thing, I have to know myself, and I have to put systems and structures in place. They're coping mechanisms, I'm not anything special, I'm like, if I don't do this, I'm gonna forget. So I set these systems and processes up to take it a step further with the notes and the Google Docs and whatever, let's be safer and who cares what it is, but you have to have a set time on a regular basis to review those things. Because to-do list is where dreams go to die. Because it takes it out of your head, and now it's only like, don't forget, which is the point, but then if you don't then take it the next step to break it down to the smallest pieces that either do delegate, automate, or delete, then it's not gonna happen. So this is the key to
Yeah,
productivity.
you just reminded me of my Facebook real estate saved post list that, I'm like, oh, this is a great idea, I'm gonna save this one for later that I haven't looked at in months.
But then when are you gonna like actually go in Facebook and
Yeah.
look your safe, but you're not going to, so take
Yeah.
it out, put it in a different place. And then when it's social media day, remember that thinking and planning energy is different than execution energy, so you have to have two separate times. So I'm saying people do not know how long things take, we all have timelines. I'm gonna get up and make calls. Who are you calling? What script are you using? Where are you getting their phone numbers? Like, what are you gonna say to, like, there's a lot of things you have to do before you take the action, and so if you don't give yourself time to do the prep work, you're doing prep work during execution work, which is why you never actually do the thing you say that you're gonna do.
We're totally gonna have Charity back to go through all the tactical things. I'm gonna circle this back and close this with the mindset thing, because the biggest thing I learned is nobody taught me anything about leadership. And I think if you are even thinking about going down this path, or the best thing you can do for yourself, whether you're on a team, you know, in our team, we have a leadership team. Like there's, whether you want to go out and start your own team or start your own firm or whatever, the biggest thing you can start doing is pouring into yourself and getting the mindset of what does it mean to work alongside other people? Because as soon as you are on a team of some sort, it's no longer just about you. So it's very important, like you said, the accountability piece. When she had a 5 a.m. call, I'd show up when it felt like it. And I realized I got so much more done when I was getting up at 5. And the only way I was going to be accountable
We're gonna talk about it.
is if now I'm the lead, just like she said, leadership creates accountability.
Yeah.
And so I was like, the only way I'm gonna make this stick is if I'm accountable to all these other people. And so I have not missed a day yet
Yeah.
since I started, because now I am the one being accountable versus I wasn't as accountable to myself
Yeah.
when it was just on her. So
And that is the key thing that you just said right there, because especially as women, sorry guys, especially women, most of the people who are attracted to the service-based industry are people pleasers.
mhm.
We will never let other people down. We'll always let ourselves down. And so by putting a mechanism in place where people are counting on us, you know we're gonna show up and do our best. So you have to schedule, you have to choose that, you have to choose that hard. And it benefits other people, which feels really good to you as a people leader, right? But it also gives you the benefit of doing it for yourself. So that, when I say put yourself in leadership, raise your hand, people will always, yeah, put something together, dude, and then it just gets you in the mode, right? Like, and then you're doing it for yourself as well. Don't be a people pleaser, recovering people pleaser.
Is that really fast and loaded for y'all?
Quick and dirty.
Oh, that was awesome. I feel like I can charity there and I need to lay on that couch and talk about my last 10 years of this.
Have skills from before real estate or bringing real estate. And when you start at the bottom again, you feel like, oh God, am I pajamas? You know, cause it's like, ugh, you know, I'm at the bottom, I'm doing ends of my studies with boss, ooh, right? Okay, but it's like, you're not starting from zero, you have all these skills. And I think the hardest thing for me was, cause again, I've met like 1.5 people in person, personal in my life. I've talked to a lot of people. I know a lot of people. I still struggle my first year when I was sold one house. So it's not that you don't have the skills. It took me that long because our industry sucks at training agents to map what were my skills and how do they relate to real estate. Like, how would you even know what farming a neighborhood is? How would you know to go on Google and search farming a neighborhood? Unless someone told you farming a neighborhood, right? So one of the things as a leader too is you have to step out. If everybody here is thinking about starting to, you have to step out of what you needed when you started. Because if you're in a position of leadership, you're probably in the top 10% people. If you've gotten to the point where you're selling enough houses with people like you should start a team, you are exceptional. And you don't know that you're exceptional. Because it feels sad for you. I know, it's easy. Why can't everybody do that? Because that's your genius. And you're not understanding that that's your genius. And you're like, why don't these people just do it? Because it's not their skill. They wouldn't be coming to you if they could do it. If they could do it, they wouldn't pay you percent of their commission, right? So you've got to step away from what I need when I started to what do you need and how can I help you get what you need. And that's a very specific skill of managing people.
It's a major mindset shift.
So it's tough. Leadership is hard. Management is the worst part of life and the best part of life.
Realizing that we're all not made the same.
Yeah.
Because I'm always like, man, I would have literally chopped my arm off to get one person's number and I'm giving you 100, you know. But yeah, we're not all built the same.
And what holds people back is always fear. So we, as a leader,
Scarcity mind.
your job is to find out where that fear is. And what their fear is probably not what your fear was. That's okay. But it's just as scary to them. Even if you don't feel scared about it. I mean, the fear, you feel like you're being chased by a bear. The feeling inside of your heart and your head is you're being chased by a bear. You ask somebody to pick up the phone and make a call and they're so afraid, the adrenaline is pumping, and you're like, I understand, it's so easy, pick up the phone. It's not that easy for them, right? So it's dismissive of their fear. So then we gotta work around, like, what is this about? Again, people. If you want to start a team, your job is people. But if you're a real estate agent, your job is people. So it's not that different. We just have to step out of like, oh, I sell my clients when they're afraid. I have those hard conversations with my clients when they're afraid. Now I need to have those conversations with real estate to give them the direction I wish they didn't have. It's like, we can talk about this.
Yeah, I've definitely, sorry we didn't take questions, but we wanted to keep it structured when going into the stuff, so I definitely appreciate everybody's patience.
No,
just
we
listening.
do this every week.
Yeah,
We keep doing
yeah,
it, I
absolutely,
mean.
but thank you so much, ladies, for your time and info, let's give them a round of applause, that is great.
Now,
Thank you, make sure you guys get some lunch, next week, what are we doing next week?
thank you for coming. Yeah, I'm over here.
Oh, is that Caitlin? Caitlin Jackson will be back to order the social media posts, so. Yeah, so she'll be back, thank you.
She knows that dresses up.
Yeah, she's cosplay.
Yep, thank you, April.
So